Hello everybody, and welcome. We're back once again at Niagara Falls. This is the United States Grand Prix here in Ultimate League. Season 9 ended in dramatic fashion, a battle for both championships, RMC and Gamer taking the titles in the end. Very nip and tuck, 6 points in between Gamer and Danny in the World Drivers title. The man who won the last Niagara race is alongside me today. Nuno, hello.
Hi.
What are your predictions for today?
Well, about who can win this race, I really have no idea. I haven't following things this week, but I guess Hernandez is fast once again, as always in the mocks. But this is a track where a lot of things can happen. Like you really need a good start here, and this track is especially chaotic. Obviously, every single the cake when it comes to that. So should be interesting right now as we see two drivers tied for pole.
Yeah, it's quite something. Coming to the end of the second lap of quali here, Marian Frias goes with a 27.60. That is a mighty fast lap, just 200ths ahead of those two drivers sharing the second spot at the moment. Corvid, Sobel, Anti, Kraft, Caddo, Gwetzley and Ewer on his Ultimate League debut. On provisionally for the top 10 positions. Can he make that? Will we see improvements in the final lap? I'm certain we will. But what's it going to be? Will it be Marion on pole? Kraft improves. Rossim improves to the second row. What a lap that is from the German. And when it
Oh my
comes to
god!
it, a tie for pole position 3 ways. Unbelievable. Caddo, at least on the results screen, takes pole for RMC. But Rossim and Marion tied on the identical lap time. Unbelievable. That is not the first time this season that's happened, but it's still
Yeah,
astonishing.
I can say it's gonna be hard to predict who's actually gonna start on the pole on the grid because I see Marion on pole on my results screen.
Oh,
So
right. Yeah, nothing between them. 27.58. That was the magic lap. 3 drivers managed to match it to the 100th of a second. Unbelievable. I guess we'll give all 3 of them the pole, to be honest. Kraft starts 4th for Lynx Racing. Hanandi ahead of Charge JT on the 3rd row. Jaruni makes it a good quali for RMC. He starts 7th ahead of Corvid in 8th. It's Anti who'll start 9th. And Sobel, our pole sitter, last time at this United States Grand Prix at the Niagara Falls circuit. Down in 10th today. Let's see what he can do from there. Grandy will start 11th. I believe he's in the wrong car, at least on my screen. He should be in the NTH. Somebody tell him to get in there. Ewer, in his debut race, will start 12th for Mayhem ahead of Gwetzley and Kada on the 7th row. Figuera, in his debut for the BAR team, will start 15th ahead of Matimar, then Urist and Andres round out our grid. The top 17 separated by under 6/10 of a second. That is what we've come to expect pretty much in these qualies, and just 0.17 between 1st and 11th. Absolutely nuts. Nuno, your take on that quali session, and somebody get Grandy in the right car.
yeah, it is interesting. If we take out Andres, everyone would be separated by just 600s. That's I mean the
600?
610s. I mean that's 610s. I mean really crazy qualifying also for the title fight. Something very important to talk about. And ending P5, it's going to be crucial to have a good start because from P5 it's easy to screw it up. And let's see if Marin actually starts on pole or because she could be third as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think some people might try taking the hearts. I think you do need to have some courage for that because it seems like the softs are good for this type of thing to start the race because I think then the hearts might actually take over. And yeah, it should be an interesting race. Also interesting to see how the tires, what the best tires will be because back then it was the softs, but today we actually got a good test or a good comparison to see if these cars do actually change which tires are better or not.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as you said, we raced it 4 seasons ago. We're at a new generation of Formula E sports, and this has never been a tighter grid. As you can see from the standings on screen now, 7 drivers within a race win of the championship lead with 3 races to go. That is unbelievable to see. Of course, both LSAs and FGRs in the top 4. You've got a fantastic scrap between them. Just 2 points ahead, FGR are at the moment. in that fight for first in the constructors, and massively tight battles down the field as well. You have NTH and Mayhem, former sister teams, British Aero Racing and Lynx Racing. Not a lot of love between those teams. And then SCP, RMC and FLF, the scrap teams with an underpowered engine, it seems, down at the back this season. But yeah, you've got these drivers as well. Anti, Kraft, JT really close within a race win of that championship lead. Danimator, who isn't here today unfortunately, just outside of it. And Kubo doing well this season as well, but he's not racing today.
Oh, wet start.
It's a wet start, but drying out. Will anyone take a wet tyre? We're underway here in Niagara Falls, and somebody has immediately disappeared off the grid. Sobel, I believe it was. Caddo started on pole position. It's going to be a chaotic start here, all with slicks in wet conditions, just as it has been in real-life Formula 1, and Sobel is out at the first corner. Anti massively swept into the barrier. Sobel is still on the starting grid. He hasn't moved. Unbelievable. Hernandi, his teammate, trying to go up the inside. Caddo battling Marion. Kraft will come through here as well. Jaruni, then JT, Grandy, and Sobel a lap down, still where he started. Unbelievable scenes to start this US Grand Prix. Look at these drivers. Mar has had a great start, up from last place. He's in 10th on that intermediate tyre. Figuera is up there as well in 9th behind Jaruni, Razim, Grandy, Corbin side by side. And Grandy off the circuit as well. Marion Fries at the inside. Kraft, Caddo still leads here. He loves leading in the United States races, as he did in Central Park. JT up the inside, into the lead now himself.
Hernandi's down to P15 right now. It seems like Andrews has gone into the pits very early.
Yeah, he started on the Inter, so he needed to pit for the slick tyres. He was the only driver to start on the Inter, and I don't think that gamble's paid off for him remotely, but it was probably worth it. He got a great race start. JT leads from Marion and Caddo, the Spaniard and the Frenchman battling it out for second place there. Kraft ahead of Corvid, who won last time out. Grandy ahead of Razim, Jaruni and Figuera. The FLFs go side by side into turn one. Will they make it through cleaning? Will Ewa get a double pass here? It looks like he might be able to. Just needs to tuck back into the slipstream. Gets a better run on Gwetsley though. Soft versus hard. Matty with a bit of teleporting, but Gwetsley gets through and into 9th position. The man who hasn't finished in the top 10 in his Ultimate League career, looking for a potential first today. Jaruni behind Razim. Then Grandy. We've got the battle still raging on. It's Kraft versus Corvid. It's Marion Fries ahead, and Caddo holding her off with his new improved low ping. Marion with a great move round the outside of turn 3. Fantastically done, but she's not quite got the position yet. Sorry, there's a police car. And JT still leads here. Caddo and Marion side by side as they go across the bridge and exit it. Caddo just has to settle for third. Corvid has taken a bit of grass there, and he is back down into 5th position. Jaruni, Razim side by side. Gwetsley, Figuera side by side. You are ahead of Anti, Caddo then Hernandi, Matty, Urist and Andres. Sobel still stalled on that starting grid. Nuno.
Sirens are the sound of the police coming to scoop up Sobel to safety off the track.
Yeah, the medical car, exactly. That's exactly what that was for. Go on, Nuno.
Yeah, cool. I would say not at all a good start for Hernandi. This is a race where this happened, where some protagonists on this championship would be at the back, and I guess the Hearts might have something to do with it. As I said, it would take a lot of courage to start on the Hearts, and this is so far behind right now, not really having a good start. But on the other hand, Marion Fries now look really amazing for the title right now, because Sobel in 2nd place has basically not started the race at all, and Hernandi is so far back, so she can actually relax and maybe have patience to maybe win today's race.
Yeah, massive championship implications here. Hernandi not out of the race, but he's down into 13th. It was 15th at one point. Sobel is out of this race. We'll send our pit lane reporter Goose to UL chat to see if he can find out more about why that was. But he just didn't start the race. Completely stalled it. Unbelievable. We've got our first drivers going in now. JT in. Marion and Kraft will both stay out for the time being, as will Corvid, Razim, Jaruni, all those going through. Caddo and JT were our 2 pitters so far this race, joining Mart, who of course came in on lap 3 off that Inter. Slightly fresher slicks for him, but he's still a good gap off the back of the grid. It was worth a try for the plucky Dutchman standing in for Kubo this race, who was just running into some issues that could not be fixed before the race start. Marian Friis into the pit lane, and Graf will lead the United States Grand Prix. Corvid still pulling through in second. Ewer up to 5th position now in that Mayhem car. He'll need to be in pretty soon. Those softs are looking worn out. Like you said, we sort of had a range of tyres to start with. We've got some still out there on the hards and the mediums. Ewer still out there on the softs. The only one, apart from Sobel, of course, left us earlier this race. But yeah, it's interesting, the strategy chat that's been going on. The hard looks like a viable tyre to some, not to others. The soft looking really good for the race start, and those on the hard definitely being punished. Particularly, you can see Hernandi down. Jesus, so far on the grid.
I'll just say the rain can change a lot of things. Currently it's cloudy, and if it do rain right now, what's happening? And then it's up to P5 right now. Oh my god.
Commentators curse much. Yeah, absolutely. Gwetsley is running in 3rd position, and I have zero doubt.
Who's right behind also.
Oh my god, that's amazing. The debutant Ewer. They're all going to be coming in, even... Well, actually, it's mainly those who are on older tyres. Let's see, I think those on fresher tyres have definitely opted to stay out, pray for the fakeness of the rain. And it is! It's a fake rain! The clouds are coming back. We've got enough water running down the falls here at Niagara. We don't need it on the racetrack, and God has agreed with that. It looks like we're going to get dry conditions returning in about a lap's time. Let's see how our drivers can navigate it. Corvid took the Inter. He's gone into 2nd place. Fantastic from the Australian. Let's see if he can make that the lead. Getting through on teammate Marian Friis. 2 title contenders, but 2 really tight-knit teammates as well this season and last. They've done so well, and Corvid breezes up the inside, takes the lead of the race. Gwetsley did fit the Inter. He's going to have to be back in very, very soon indeed, but he does, for the time being, make the overtake up into 3rd position. What a fantastic start for the Swiss-born Flow Force driver. Rozim right behind, also on the Inter. Caddo is the 2nd highest runner still on that slick. It's a green and white field at the moment. Heavy rain coming! Oh my lord, and Corvid, I believe, came right into the pit lane as that happened, as did Rozim. I think that's right, he was even on the Inter.
This changes a lot, because staying out is going to be so bad right now.
It's true, but those who were on the Inter, who were just about to come in for slicks, had to then opt for the wet and have taken an extra stop. I mean, albeit now on the right tyre, but still, you've got to think about the risk and reward there. Ewer behind on the Inter has caught up to the back of Caddo, but it's all going to be full wets. Ewer, I believe, may have got dragged in or dummied into the pit lane, stays out on track. Gwetsley leads the United States Grand Prix. That's not a sentence I thought I was going to say tonight, but what a fantastic one it is to roll off the tongue. He's still out there on the Inter. Surely, I think he's clocked the lap lead already, but is he going to take us a moment in the sun, or is he going to head in for the wet weather tyre? But Gwetsley leads here at Niagara Falls. He is going to stay out, and Gwetsley comes across the line at the end of lap 15 and leads that lap here at Niagara. What a fantastic race start. Hernandi from 14th, and now he gets a little bit of issues there, but from 14th is now back up into 2nd. Ewer, the man who famously hates cheesecake and sushi, is in 3rd position on his intermediate, but not many drivers have stuck on the Inter's mark already, down to 12th. He loves that intermediate tyre today, but it's not done him much love. The wet-shod FGR drivers now running 4th and 5th. Corvid devastated, I'm sure, that it was just called at completely the wrong time for him. I'm sure he'll rue back on that as he makes that strategy graph later tonight. Rozim and Uris fighting 6th and 7th position. Unbelievable. Kraft, his teammate, right behind. It's JT and Caddo who fought for the lead on lap 3. Now going side by side over 8th and 9th positions. Jaruni, Caddo's teammate, right behind him. In 11th is Martin Cadder, the BAR drivers in the team that is quite quickly shutting down, will be gone by the end of the season, replaced by Neon Sunset. Oh no, sorry, that's SCP. Whoops. Figueroa driving for that team, rather. Matty with his teammate in the lead, still in 15th. Antti, then Grandi Nordic Thunder's last of the runners. That is a rare sentence to say for anybody who's been around the block a few times in Sunday League, because they were such an established top 10 running team. Gwetsley's still out there on the intermediate, and those drivers on the intermediates we'll use Corvid as the benchmark because he came in to put on the wet, but it's full wet conditions. The track is practically as flooded as the river that feeds the falls, yet the drivers on the intermediate still out there putting in good lap times. I mean, really seriously impressive. A 29, well, I think a few tenths slower for Ewer than Corvid that lap. It's really holding up that Inter tyre. Hernandi has caught Guetzi. Can the Swiss man contain his lead for the time being? Hernandi will tuck into the slip. Can he just try and forge a way through? He goes through turns 2, 3 and 4. Guetzi will still continue to lead, stat padding as much as he can on that lap sled graph when it does eventually come out. You are still running in third, not for much longer. The two men from the southern hemisphere, the Australian and the South African, side by side there in the wet, finally proving that it does actually have some use in motor racing. Getting through is Corvid up into third place despite being completely screwed by that rain. It then turned into absolute pandemonium in the pit lane with all sorts of drivers coming in, off inters, going for slicks, changing to wets. But he does find himself back up in third and Nandi in second. That is incredible for two drivers who have been screwed so badly early in this race, and Hernandi is very happy to just sit in the slipstream of Guetzi for the time being. The lap times that the Swiss driver is putting in have really not been too shabby. He's put in a 29.1 on his last lap, just 3 tenths slower than Corvid, who is on the wet. The track is dry and Guetzi still leads. He's not going to give this one up. He's not fighting for the championship, but boy is he fighting for pride. He might take FLF's second win of the season, and Nomskar taking the first, of course. He might even become the 11th driver in as many races to take an Ultimate League victory, which would be unbelievable. But this front 5 pack, as they have been, unfortunately we had Caddo, who has dropped out of it now. He's been fighting the likes of the Lynxes, JT and his own teammate indeed. The SCP's running formation in 12th and 13th. When we'll see drivers in, the rain has come back that little bit. Light rain announced, and that bar sort of 2/3 full, as you'd expect it to be. Nuno, anything from you at the moment?
Yeah, this is what I can say. I think the wets now, it's not like things have been totally over for the FGR drivers who were still further behind, getting much closer as you can see right now. Some drivers pitting, which is understandable because the rain has stood for so long that now they have to make that tough decision of whether they should pit for new tires and maybe just be much faster right now, or stay out and hope that the rain ends as quick as possible, but doesn't seem to be the case right now. So maybe this pit that Nandi and Guetzi made might be a very crucial one right now to have an undercut on the drivers who are staying out. And I would say at some point, if you're staying out for quite long, you might as well just stick with it. As you can see now, Cardo goes into the pits, Jerome is staying out. But at the same time, if the rain ends so quickly, we might see Nandi falling down a lot of positions, and the same might happen to Guetzi as well.
Before we gather our thoughts back into this rain, we did get the reports from Sobel in the pits. It was an absolute engine failure off the start. The car died on impact. You can read that as his game crashed upon race start.
Oh, what a sad fate for a man who looked so good to defend his title this season, right back in the contention with some really good recent performances, and just couldn't get off the start line. One driver left on the intermediate. Would anyone like to gamble to guess who that driver is? Because it is the only man who has seemed to die by that tyre all race long. It is Andres, who's chasing down the Japanese-Portuguese driver Figueira, making his debut today, currently in 16th. Side by side go the FGRs, going to give Goose a little bit of a heart attack, hoping they don't take each other out, but they have a monumental lead. Rozim looking for yet another career podium. He's got, I believe, 3 to his name so far, there or thereabouts. Kraf Guetzi still running really well after that pit stop in 5th position. Again, it's almost a Suicide-esque drive from Sergito Cristais a few seasons ago. He's never finished in the top 10 in his career, and looking at potential top 6 here, really. I mean, it's just outstanding. As for the drivers who pit in the rain, we can see now that the clouds are coming back. Let's see how much we trust that, really. But from my sort of racing experience, it was always the case that you gamble saying, oh, my wets are worn out, might as well go in for another stop, let's see if the rain lasts that long. And then, of course, as soon as you pit, the dry conditions will come back in absolutely no time and massively screw you over. But definitely the right call, I'd say for Hernandi and Guetzi, who were running on the Inter and the conditions since they pitted pretty much have been non-stop, wet preferable running. So it makes a lot of sense for drivers to be out there on that wet compound tyre for to have pitted from that Inter to the wet tyre. Corvid still leads Marion, just tucking into the slipstream of her Australian teammate, looking to bring home yet another 1-2 for the FGR team there. Second, I think it would be. Rozim still sitting pretty in third. Kraft looking for a potential podium. Hanandi and Gwetsley just behind. That's Ewa, Jiruni, JT and Caddo. Uris Anti's made his way back up into 12th position now, and Grandy trying to follow suit up into 14th, potentially. Caddo with a bit of lag there. The triple green. Oh, Caddo I think was nearly forced into the pit lane as Grandy does come in off those wets. He's gone for the slicks. That's quite an early stop. But I guess he will have balanced it up in his mind that with such worn out wet weather tyres, you're actually almost going to be faster on a slick that is just brand new, that you can get up to temperature hopefully, even though the hard is quite a slow tyre generally.
Ooh, we crashed there.
Where was it?
Hernandi versus Glatzi. Hernandi I think has been for because he tried to pass him a lot of times, but I think he may have pushed him at some point, because then I saw Hernandi being so far behind Guetzi, but then he managed to finally make the move, and now Guetzi was trying to pass him, and then Hernandi turns too early to the corner and pushes him quite deep into the grass, and so that's why they're now quite separated.
Yeah. So we had waves of pit stops. Kraft was the leader to have pitted on lap 30, and Caddo the last runner to have pitted on lap 31, so he sinks down just behind his teammate on for a double top 10 for RMC as it stands. You are sitting in a very respectable 7th position. We'll take a... Go on.
Also at the front, Hernandi took this off, so I'm pretty sure he wants to be as fast as possible, catch up and pass both FGRs, but now I think Corvi might be an amazing shield for Marion Free now, because he has a huge ping, and this is a track for overtaking, so I think Hernandi will find a very good challenge right now as he tries to go around the outside him, and I guess he managed to pass him already.
He seemed to be cursing everything today, Nuno. You say, oh, the rain's going to come out, and then it doesn't, and then you get the Corvid's going to be... But I generally do agree in that he is normally the most difficult man to overtake in the entire circuit, and yet it was just easy work there for Hernandi. Just slid right past, and he's broken slip now, incredibly, from these drivers who are all running the medium, and Kraft with a big lag. Is that Kraft out? No, he's teleported back onto the circuit, luckily. That was quite scary. But yeah, generally, Corvid, a really difficult man to overtake. Could have been a fantastic shield, but he just didn't quite have the pace at the start of this stint.
That man in barrel. He's gone clean over the falls.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, not many people have survived going in a car over the side of Niagara Falls. He would be one of the first. He's also... battling Rozim at the moment, which is a less dangerous sport, seeing as Rozim's general clean driving acumen. Hernandi up in second place really has made those inroads on Marion Frias, just as she sort of did with the reverse, pretty much. If you cast your mind back to the Indian Grand Prix at Hyderabad, she took the softer step of tyres while everyone went one bit harder, and she managed to just absolutely tear through those front runners, take that victory. Really, really nice performance. Hernandi sort of trying to turn the tables a little bit. Now it's 2 steps softer for the Hungarian driver, running in second position. Can he make it the lead? He's just going to shape up a move on Marion. Will it be into turn 2? Turn 1 being the kink in the straight right after the start-finish line. It's a good place to slipstream through, but not much overtaking you can get done there. He tries it, takes a bit of grass. They're still side by side into 2. Can Andy inch ahead? I don't think Marion will fight this too hard, but Andy does go very deep through 3 and 4. Does just keep it on the grey stuff, and he will stick around in the race lead. And Andy now leads. Will he end this spell as we see him go side by side with Marion again? Deep into the grass. Both of them go. Incredible scenes there. They're going to lose quite a lot of time. We'll do a lap time comparison indeed from the battling. It's a 32 for Marion, 35 for Hernandi. It's a 28.8 for Kraft and a 28.6 for Azim. They need to sort out their differences, because if they can just sit and slip and drive their heads off, they can reach these front 2. Kraft can win and make it 11 winners in 11 races. I believe Rozim, Hernandi or Marion winning wouldn't make that happen, since they have all taken Grand Prix victory in that last spell of races. Quite still up in 6th. So commendable from the Swiss driver.
There's one thing I can say. I think Nandi might actually try to stick to Mayan Freeze now. Try and stick with her as much as possible to then maybe consider a slight or a shorter undercut on Marion and then maybe go to the ends on the next stint. And I
Yeah.
think that's possible actually with the amount of laps left. And yeah, I'm actually curious to see what tires are going to take until the end. I think they might actually be possible to take the mediums or the hards. I think maybe Nandi might try to stay out with Marion now to maybe do a short undercut and then hope that Marion doesn't catch him back with better tires.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right in that Handy's soft just at that point where the hard, significantly less worn now, will definitely be faster. He's going to come in for the
Oh, there he
undercut
goes.
this lap. Can he make this work? 11 laps to go. He
There
takes
goes
the
on
medium,
mediums.
and he'll see if
He's
that can
confident
carry
that
him.
he can take him to the end.
Will Marion be pitting immediately to erase the undercut, or will she extend to a full hard stint?
You've got to think she'll take the soft, having, using the end
Yeah,
of the hard tyre
it
here.
is. I think she might go with 9 watts to go into the pits and go for softs, while Nandi will be on the mediums. If she's gonna have generally better pace on the soft tires, so yeah, that could be something about the car as well.
You've got to imagine that, I think, because it would have been silly to take the hard 2 steps harder than Hernandy's soft and lose all that time to him on the previous stint, only to then throw it all away just to sort of quote unquote cover him off. You've got to play into the advantage that your tyre gives you, and she's going to stretch that hard and then go absolutely gunning on that final stint. Corvid's surely got to be in soon. Hernandy's already past Gwetzley and JT. This is the traffic that Marion might want to worry about, just that she might fall into this pack with Gwetzley and JT. They've kept on the pace relatively well, and with about 6 or 7 second pit loss,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. The thing is that Gwetzley might also be pitting in the meantime, but I think Mayan Freeze, what she can do is to prepare for this sort of final battle. If she confident that she can catch Hernandi quite soon in the next stint, so she can just prepare herself to have the best tires as possible to have
here she
huge
goes.
advantage on the battle, and I think she might actually.
Out of the pit lane,
That'd be-
Gwetzley in second place. Marion just slots into third. She'll have to get past the Swissman, who has put up the drive of his career, and actually might just try and stretch these hards for as long as he stays in Marion's slip, which is still, to be fair, and take a little bit of that soft pace with him. Go into the pit lane. He's in third place with 7 laps to go, and he take a bow, Gwetzley. One final stint. Drive the tyres off that car, man. And somebody mute if you're not commentating. Girouni in right behind, in fact. Fantastic from Jero. I didn't really see him up there. And Caddo also into the pit box as well. Comes out in 10th position. It's going to be one last stint for the RMC boys to just try and pillage their way up the grid. You are on the older hard at the moment. JT on a slightly older soft. So is Corvid, Rozim on that medium, and Kraft on that medium as well. That has a bit of wear on it. And Hernandi on a pretty similar life as well. 6 laps to go. We're going to have a 1v1 shootout. It's Hernandi versus Marion Friis. Looking at the driver's standings at the moment, you can just see quickly that Marion is our championship leader. Hernandi is third. There are 13 points separating them. Only 5 extra points for a race win versus P2, so it would only go part of the way to clawing back Hernandi's gap behind her. But Marion will get behind Hernandi at the minute.
If anyone just heard that rather loud noise, that was actually the Canadian Snowbirds, the stunt flight plane
Marion
pilots.
takes the lead. Sorry, Goose, carry on.
Making a nice appearance in Niagara Falls. They're celebrating the Canadian National Exhibition this weekend, making a stop at the UR2D race.
And the FGO fans will be celebrating in the grandstands. Their driver has hit the front here on lap 47. The Spaniard leads once again here in Niagara. And will Hernandi have the pace to match? It doesn't look like it, because he did have to pit that much earlier. He did have to take the medium tyre versus the soft. Can Kraft take a second career podium? It would be remarkable. Rozim, also not a man who is frequently seen on those top 3 positions, but he has been there at some points in recent races. He's going to make sure he's trying to get there today. It's Corvid, then JT. Ewer battling Gwetzley. Fantastic race for both of them. Ewer, well, Gwetzley's never finished in the top 10. Ewer has never finished an Ultimate League race. To be 7th or 8th on debut would be phenomenal, but they've got to watch out for the RMC drivers behind. Maybe Caddo a little too far back. Jeru looking to join this pack if they possibly can. Rozim has the upper hand on Kraft for the moment. Marian Frias building that gap to Hanandi, just as she will be in the World Drivers' Championship. Hanandi having missed an extra race. Marian with a did not start. Hanandi with 2 of them indeed. And what looks like Sobel will now have a did not start because he quite physically did not start the race. Rozim third. It's Kraft and Corvid right behind. Corvid has made that gap back up on the soft compound tyre, but Rozim looking to just slip away if he can. The sneaky German driver looking to take that bronze medal here today in Niagara. We are on to the final lap of proceedings here. Marian Frias leads the way ahead of Fernandi. It's Rozim. They move past Sobel, who's still wiggling around in his grid slot, still not having started the race. The engine blew up. Corvid up the inside of both Rozim and Kraft, just as we saw potentially with the NCHs back in season 9. We've seen it again here in the fight over third. We'll return to this in just 1 second because it looks like Marian Frias, as she rounds the final corner, will win the United States Grand Prix. Hanandi takes second. Will Corvid have the pace to the line? It looks like he just about will take third ahead of Kraft and Rozim. It was JT, then Gwetzley in a career best 7th. Take a bow. Oh my lord. Jaruni finished 8th in the end, just ahead of Ewer in 9th, and it was Caddo in 10th position. Anti outside the top 10, that's rare for him. Euris 12th, and it was his fellow Portuguese man Figueira in 13th. A great result for the debutant, just as it was for Ewer. Both can be so proud of their races. Grandi, a disappointing 14th place, and Matti 15th. Kada and Andres, the Interlover driver in the green car, comes home as our final finisher, and I suppose we'll do the rest of the wait with Sobel on the grid still with some pretty worn out soft compound tyres. But while we're waiting, let's have a bit of post-race analysis. Nuna, what were your thoughts on that one?
I would say I think Nandi did a really good damage limitation, but I gotta say it's only 2 rounds to go now, and he's 17 points behind as it seems to be all standing, so that's a really tough gap to come back. It's just 2 races to go, but and I think today, interesting to see how he lost a race in a very similar to how he lost in Marauge against Noms, where he was the first to pit with then having older tires and also tires compared to the Noms who had fresher tires. Got up to him very early, and here it was exactly the same thing, and then he just couldn't stay behind at some point as he made a mistake. So this might be something that the drivers might have to look at for the future, especially the Hungarian driver himself, who certainly will need to beat Maya Frias in the next round, because it's going to be the penultimate one, to then have a realistic chance of then beating her for the title. Also, Sobel's DNS source stuck at the start. It's going to be used also for the WCC, where basically FGR is looking really well now with the double podium today, so they might be quite far ahead with just 2 rounds to go. And yeah, also big sudden podium for Corvid, and also amazing race for Kraft and Rozim, and also Gwetzley, of course, who led his first ever laps in Rio, and also great to see Yoha racing today.
Yeah, you summed it up pretty well. Yeah, it was a 1-3 for FGR in the end, the exact same finishing positions as they were when we raced in the United States back in Season 6. Who was first that day, I wonder? Their first ever double podium that was, and this is their latest. Hanandi, bit of damage limitation in the championship. It was going to be a 5-point loss to Marian, taking it to 18-point gap. It is just a 17-point gap, as he did take the fastest lap of the race with a 27.38. Kraft in 4th place. Rozim will be very happy with the 5th as well. Kraft's P4 is about his sort of median for this season so far. He's been very impressive this season. JT again with a solid 6th place. Gwetzley up in 7th. Fantastic race for him and Flow Force. Jaruni in 8th, and Ewer in an RMC sandwich, although I believe that will be appealed after the race. Perhaps a results screen glitch. We'll see if that was enough of an error to warrant the change. Anti ahead of Euris and Figueira, Grandi, Matti, Marcada, Andres and Sobel are DNS here today. Big championship implications, as you said, with Sobel's retirement. That massively hurt him, but also LSA. A double FGR podium. You would have wanted Sobel up and in there, but it's a huge point. About 20 points lost, pretty much on average, by Sobel not being there. So that's going to be big. That massively swings things into the favour of FGR and indeed Marion Frias. It's interview time now. Let's see who we've got potentially to be interviewed. We have Gwetsley. What a great place to start. P7, a career best. You led a lot of laps there. That's got to feel amazing.
It feels amazing. Just at one point, the race luck needed to be there, and I think I did well. Kept going with Fernandi for most of the race, and then just P7. I'm taking that.
What did you felt? What did you felt when you were leading? Were you like stressed out? Were you relaxed? Or
So I was just, I was completely going nuts when extreme rain was announced, because there was first I was on inters, and the person ahead of me went into the pits, and I decided to stay one lap more out, and it immediately announced wet. So I was going completely nuts, and then I realized that I was suddenly leading the race.
Unbelievable. What a performance, man. You should be so proud of yourself. It'd be a shame to lose you from the grid next season, honestly. That's a drive of a champion. Brilliant.
Thanks, mate.
We'll go next to Corvid on the podium. P3, it was a topsy-turvy race. He came in for slicks right as rain was announced. That's got to be a gut punch, but he did bring it back in the end. Great podium drive.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it went. I pitted twice for the wets, which ended up being the best strat overall. The wets gave me so much grip compared to everyone in front of me. I had a really bad start as the track turned to slicks though, but I was able to climb back, which was nice. The softs were really nice to me at the last stint. Happy Marion got the win as well. There's a shame I couldn't fight for P2, but third was the best I could have gotten given what happened. But I'm happy with that, yeah. And it's super result for the team.
And it's got to be nice. Oh, yes, go on, Nuno.
also, I think if you look at the standings, I'm pretty sure it might be third right now. So are you gonna try to keep it up?
I mean, I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't expecting a good result today, but this the big day for the team, very important. I'm happy if we can definitely nab both championships from here, just to keep on pushing.
Yeah, both championships seem to be, wouldn't say safe, but certainly looking pretty good with just 2 rounds to go, and yeah, good performance today.
And it would be my absolute honour to go finally to Ewer, our debutant today. What a drive. It was P9 in the end, maybe P8, we'll see about that. But fantastic drive from you, and you were up there the whole race. Give us a description of that one.
Thank you. It was fantastic, I must say. Cause wow, I mean, at the end, of course I'm going to protest it, because on my screen I was 8th, comfortably ahead of Jiruni, but I think it added a second to my time. Gambled with a lot of things, whether it was, staying out there or taking the inters a bit too long, and I think that cost me some time, but I'm pleased. I'm very pleased, and yeah, I have to thank Mart for giving me the opportunity to drive in his place, Roz for his support, and I loved it.
On that bombshell, what a fantastic race that was, full of action, full of surprises, full of rain, and we'll see you for a race that may be even more chaotic next week for the Canadian Grand Prix at the Vancouver Street Circuit. But until then, bye bye.